Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the High Ticket Coaching and Consultant Strategy and Growth Show. Now, if you're watching this interview anywhere else but within our private Facebook community called High Ticket Client Attraction Insider Circle, then definitely come check us out. That community was put together specifically for coaches, consultants, and service providers who are serious about getting up to that 6 and 7 figure level. So if that's you and you want to be a part of an awesome community with some awesome supportive members, definitely come check us out. Now, today I want to introduce you to one of the members of our community, Anton. Welcome, Anton.
G'day, Extus. How are you, mate?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
Oh, great, mate. We're living over here in Queensland, and the weather's beautiful and life's good, and no complaints at all in sunny Australia.
Yeah, love it. I'm in Newburgh, Indiana right now, and my nephew and his friends, they set up like this tent outside, and they slept in it last night. So the weather's definitely pretty nice, right?
Good.
Yeah, awesome. So tell us, Anton, what is it that you do?
So we do this part of an organisation where safety meets leadership, Extus.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a couple of elements to safety. So there's our psychological safety, so how we are emotionally, and then there's our physical safety at work. So we work with a lot of businesses that are mines or manufacturing or production organisations where they've got frontline workers who are out, or councils, for example, who are out doing manual labour. And so there's this physical safety element and helping people unpack what it means to make safe work decisions, as well as how do we stay safe emotionally during our work day and in our lives and even our home life. So we do psychological safety and physical safety. And then over the top of that, we lay some leadership. So for organisations, it's really about how leaders step up, how they actually do their jobs and how they bring their teams on the journey of development and growth and that journey to high performing teams. So we do where safety meets leadership, and we actually say that we make safety safe. And one of the challenges with workplace health and safety is that it's not safe to talk about, or it's not safe to make safe decisions because people are worried about getting in trouble because they've taken too much time, or they have questioned what it is they're doing, or it's not safe to report. So someone has an incident and they cover it up. So we say we make safety safe. And it's great fun. So in Australia, we have a fatality at work about every 2 days. So we lose about 190 people, Australians, every day. And we've only got 20 million people in Australia. So that's a big number for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you got 330 million. So you're going to have a lot more workplace fatalities, I guess. At the end of the day, though, one's too many. So part of our work is to really work with organisations and make sure we're part of the solution to preventing people getting injured at work, both emotionally and physically.
Mm-hmm. Now, what got you started on this path?
Mate, Extus. So as a young man, I haven't got my book here in front of me, or I'd show you. I was a young electrician. So I went to work one day and I'm working away, I'm working in a switchboard. And at the age of 21, the switchboard blew up in my face. And so I got this massive arc flash, and it's called a arc blast, actually, because that's what happened. It exploded. And I got sort of my face blown off and some of my hands blown off and stuff. And second degree burns, hands, arms, face, neck. And so I spent 5 weeks recovering in a burns unit where they peel all your skin off so that skin comes through and heals. And had a couple of months off work, unfortunately, forced. Went to work one day and went home about 5 weeks later after a trip through intensive care and then the burns unit. And so after that incident, I didn't really want to talk about it for about 10 years. And I reckon if I look back on it now, because I'm doing psychology study now, and I think if I look back on it, there would be some trauma attached to that. And I don't think it was PTSD per se, but it was something like that where I didn't really want to talk about it for 10 years. And then 10 years after the incident, Extus, I started unpacking the incident and what I could share and what I've learned, and started telling people about it. And the story was really interesting to people and people wanted to know about it. So I started as a speaker in relation to my own story, and I show all the gory photos of my hands and skin and stuff and then say to people, look, this happened to me, don't let it happen to you. So that's how I got started, mate. I had a really crappy thing happen, and I suppose I've made the most of it and turned something that was pretty average into a career and a life and a business that serves, that supports, and that saves lives, hopefully in the safety space.
Yeah, I love it, love it. So you said ultimately, when that happened, you really didn't talk about it for 10 years. You just kept it, kept yourself within.
Mm. So we moved away, Extus. So I had the incident in March 1994, and then we basically moved away in May 94, and we never came back for 10 years. So we call it our 10-year working holiday around Australia, my wife and I. We went over to the other side of the country, which is called Western Australia. So there's mines over there. And then we went to Brisbane, which is still in Queensland, but 600 k's from here. And then we went up to the Northern Territory, which is crocodile country. So, Crocodile Dundee, you would have heard of him.
Right.
Where that's so Crocodile Dundee country up in the Northern Territory, and then down to what we call New South Wales, just near Sydney. So we worked around the country for 10 years, and I was sort of climbing the ladder of corporate success. And so I had some different leadership roles and manager roles, and finally, and while we were away, I hadn't seen any of the people from my childhood, basically, because we didn't come home very often, and I was able to sort of put it behind me. It wasn't really a part of my life because I just got on with life at that stage. But when I came home 10 years later, back to family and friends, and so we're back now in the town that I grew up in. Everyone wanted to know about it. Everyone said, "How are you? What happened? I heard we haven't seen you since the incident. Heard you got your face blown off. I heard you lost your hands." I said, "No, I've still got them." Yeah. And people wanted to know about it. And I went out to work at an alumina refinery, and someone said, "Oh, can you run the safety meeting?" And I said, "Yeah, but." I said, "I'm not going to do the normal stuff that people do, like, how to put sun cream on or how to indicate off roundabouts or whatever." I said, "I'm not going to do that jazz. If I'm going to run the safety meeting, I'm going to tell a story about what happened to me." And so it was the first time I'd actually told that story. And you've got a speaker over there in America called Charlie Moorcraft. And Charlie Moorcraft was very similar. He had bad burns incidents, and he was one of the first safety speakers on the planet. He was one of the first to take a workplace incident and turn it into something that could help people stay safe at work. And he's sort of world famous in his space. And I'd seen that video, and that really got me thinking about, hold on, have I got some information that I can share here? Then I told the story on this site, and people loved it. And so all of a sudden it's sort of gone a bit nuts since then, and I'm still telling that story, but now it's morphed into leadership training and safety training and communication training and all sorts of public speaking training and all sorts of stuff. So
Awesome. Now, how did all the trainings evolve afterwards, after you did that first, you shared that story? Then how did you now say, were you approached by other people saying, "Hey, I'd love for you to come share a story," or did you now say, I could lead with this? How did that happen for you?
So what happened was, it was funny, Extus. I shared the story the first time, and then I got asked to do it again probably 6 months later. And when I got asked, same story, same business. Yeah, same business. Because what had happened, they were building a alumina refinery here in Gladstone, and when I did it the first time, there was this many people on site, and then as the refinery grew, Bechtel was building it, actually, a good American company. By the 6 months. Sorry?
What company you said? Vectron?
Bechtel.
Oh, Bechtel. Okay.
Bechtel. So they built the Hoover Dam back in the day. Hoover Dam, yeah. And so 6 months later, there was a lot more people on site, and there's a lot more people to hear this story, which was good. And so it was about 150 to 200 people the second time I told it, and I got that much positive feedback after that session that I just walked into the boss's office and resigned. Said, "Thanks so much. I don't want to work here anymore. I want to go and do this whole speaking thing." And he said, "You're nuts." So then I had to come home and tell my wife that, and she said, "You're nuts." And I said, "Trust me, babe, we've got this, we." And she said, "No, you, champion." But anyway, here we are 15 years later, still living the dream. And so after that second time that I told it, it sort of evolved into a speaking business, and it took some marketing, and it took some work. And, it's hard when you're getting a business going back. And it's like, even after COVID now, I'm finding we've got to rebuild again. I always feel like we're doing a startup all the time, right? So anyway, back then was interesting because we had no Facebook, we had no no internet really. You know, websites weren't a big deal. Blogs weren't a big deal. Nothing was a big deal back then, and all you had was email. So you found some of your old mates and just sent them an email, and they got excited and said, "Oh yeah, great, come out and tell us your story." And so that evolved, and so I built that into a speaking business for a while, and then uh, um, as I developed, people liked the public speaking aspect of it because it freaks people out, and so it morphed. The business just organically grew into all sorts of different training packages because someone would hear the story and they'd go, "Oh, well, so you're an electrician, you've had an arc flash. Could you come and tell us about electrical safety?" Yeah, okay, cool. Well, I'll do that. Or can you come and tell us about other parts of workplace safety? Or can you come and tell us about how we can lead a team safely? So it's just like the story just has so many arms off it that ended up as a business. And now we, you know, serve a whole lot of clients and in a whole lot of ways, so which is great fun. And through to this Friday, so I've got a workshop on Friday, and it's about team building. You know, it's just about how to build an effective team, and we use what's called disc profiling. I haven't got my disc here. I'm a bit more prepared. So we, you know, are you dominant? Are you influential? Are you steady or conscientious? And so, you know, we help people understand each other. We help people understand themselves, and that's this psychological safety as well as physical safety. At the end of the day, what we do is we say, if you want to break it right down into one sentence, we say we help people understand why they make the decisions they make, and we help them make better decisions to become better versions of themselves. So at the end of the day, that is the crux of what we do. Why do you make the decisions you do, and how do you make better ones?
Mm-hmm. Love that, powerful. And it's so interesting how one story, right? Because I believe that in life is just a big story, right? Whoever has a really compelling story that really, there's so much power in that, and so many people have stories where they just never share it. And I believe once you start sharing your story, that's where the biggest leverage comes into play, right?
And a lot of people either believe, so they believe they don't have a story. Everyone's got a story. Or they believe no one's going to listen to them. We're desperate for stories. Everyone's desperate for inspiration. Or they're just too scared to stand up in front of a crowd and tell it. And there's just, it's, once you're the subject matter expert, once you get your head around your story, and at the end of the day, it's not about, the story's not about me, it's about the audience, because unless they've had a great time, I haven't done a good job. Unless I've made it about them. So it's actually not about the speaker as much as it is about the audience. And making about the audience is about, what have I learned? What can I share that can help others? And that's public speaking, right? That's training, that's coaching, that's consulting. How can I share this experience? And there's so many people out there. So, you know, I think that some of the best experiences I've had is taking people away for weekends, and we do public speaking training where they unpack these stories that they've got, and they don't realize until the end of the weekend just how powerful their stories are and how powerful they can be when they tell them right, with a focus on what they've learned and what other people can learn from their experience. It's crazy. Good fun.
Yeah, love it. Now, what about with COVID-19? How has it affected business in terms of how you do so?
Yes, it did for a month. It did in April, Extus. Yeah, no, we had a pretty quiet April, which was a bit of a bummer. We didn't get much work done. It was great though. We worked on the business. We actually worked. It was the first time in probably 5 years where we got down in the trenches and actually said, what are we doing? How are we doing it? How can we improve it? And I don't know about you, Extus, and this is probably a story for your listeners. We totally revolutionized our service offerings, even like just the way that we deliver. So we went, like, here's just an example. We went from a workbook that was very simple with the slides that we produced. It's probably got my notes in it, has it? To something really like little funky little workbooks that are sort of graphically designed, you know, well put together, really high level information around the brain. So I'm studying psychology, so I can really unpack what it means. So what happens when we make a decision? Where does it go? When it goes into your amygdala and into your thalamus and hypothalamus, and how does that show up in your behaviour? So we've taken our service offering Extus and ramped it up, baby. and we've taken our delivery. And I don't know about you, Extus, and maybe some of your listeners might be able to relate to this, that in business, you sort of get to a point where you, I suppose, are comfortable, where you think you're doing a good job and your clients are telling you you're doing a good job. And then you sit back and reflect and you go, you know what? Clients, I apologize. I've let you down. I could be doing this so much better. And that's the point we're at now. So we're a month in. So May, things kicked off again for us, and June's going well again. Now I'm just going out with this different level of service offering and delivery, and our clients are really valuing that. And so COVID's been good for us, Extus, in a few ways. And the government in Australia, I don't know how your government's looking after you. Our government's really looking after us from a financial support perspective for small business. So that's been really cool. We've got this thing called the JobKeeper, and we've got some tax relief. So you pay our PAYG tax and different things. So we're pretty lucky here in Australia, and I'm sure you are too. I'm just saying that I only know our situation. So we're lucky that we've got a government that supports small business. And after April, when we sort of rebuilt the business and restructured and rebuilt, we're away and racing again in a whole new way and in an excited way. So yeah, we're really cranking, which is good fun.
That is awesome. I love it. Love it. Now, in terms of ideal clients, right, who would you say is an ideal client for you?
So businesses with 100 plus people, approximately 10 teams per business, with, let's say, 10 leaders then. If there's 10 teams of 10, so there's going to be 10 leaders who have an industrial or a manufacturing or a mining or a council type frontline work approach, where we've got people out there doing the do, so that they're in work that could potentially harm them physically or emotionally, and a business that's in a growth phase, and leaders that want to create high performing teams. So 100 people, about 10 teams, leaders that are passionate about their team. And we start working with the CEO, and then we sort of work down at different levels of the business. We either coach the CEO, or we could coach a team member. So sometimes of those 10 teams, there might be one team in turmoil. So we'll work with just that one team, and sometimes just that one individual, or we'll work with the whole business. And we have a couple of different models for how we actually roll that out, whether it's vertically or horizontally. So that's our ideal client. And some of our clients have got 50 people, some have got 500 people. So it just sort of depends on the situation and the requirement for that organisation.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Love it. Love it. So, Anton, if someone wanted to reach out, what's the best way for them to connect?
Mate, www.the Guinea Group. So the Guinea Group, and I know Americans struggle with my surname, Extus. I'm not sure why, mate. Oh, there it is up there, bro. Look.
Yeah, it's right behind you.
theguineagroup.com.au, or Anton at theguineagroup.com.au. And Guinea as in puppy, or as in pig. Do you have guinea pigs over there in America?
We do.
Yeah. So that's the easy way to remember it, mate. Track us down. If you're looking for YouTube, it's Anton Guinea YouTube, not the Guinea Group. Our Guinea Group YouTube's a bit average, so I'm going to do that up. But our website's it's under construction at the moment too. That's part of our work that we've done to rebuild the business. We're also rebuilding our website, rebuilding all of our marketing collateral. My personal YouTube channel is not bad. It's got about 500 videos. So if you want to get to know me a little bit better, you can go and spend a few days scrolling through there. Some good ones, and there's some average ones. And over time, you're going to see a lot more on the Guinea Group YouTube channel as I start putting a heap of 10-minute talks out. Instead of TED, we're going to do 10M, 10-minute talks. So TEN instead of TED. So
nice.
We're gonna build a bit of a library of talks that people can get heaps of value from. So.
Love it, Anton. Well, hey, thank you so much for making the time to be here with us today. Really appreciate it. And guys, all the links to connect with Anton, they'll be right above or below the video. So if you want to connect, go ahead and click on them and just get right connected. So, hey, do you have any final thoughts before we end here?
Not really. Just great great work on what you're doing too, Extus. You're building a great community there, mate. It's really, really great to hear about before we started talking some of your success stories. And, keep up the great work, mate. Keep inspiring, keep doing your thing, and keep making a difference, which is what we're all here for. Stay on purpose and stay on that mission. And, I can't wait to hear more success stories. So good on you. Congratulations.
Awesome. Thank you. And same to you as well, too. We'll talk soon, okay?
Thanks, bro. See
Awesome.
you soon.
Yep.